Welcome back to the B&B Spoilers channel. Today, we will learn about the shocking developments surrounding Luna Nozawa's tragic end and how it's reshaping lives across the canvas of the bold and the beautiful. Luna's shocking demise unveiled. In a heart-wrenching revelation on the bold and the beautiful, Deputy Chief Bradley Baker gathers key figures at Bill Spencer's lavish cliffside mansion to recount the horrifying details of Luna Nozawa's death, leaving everyone stunned and the audience reeling from the raw emotion. This isn't just a plot twist. It's a poignant send-off to an actress whose breakout performance this year clinched the prestigious 2025 Daytime Emmy for Best Emerging Talent, blending real-world accolades with the show's intense drama. As Baker methodically describes the gruesome circumstances, perhaps a fatal altercation gone wrong amid Luna's web of deceptions, viewers are forced to grapple with the permanence of her absence, allowing intertwined storylines to pivot toward redemption and reckoning without the shadow of her manipulations lingering. The confirmation that Luna confessed the full truth to Will Spencer about miscarrying their child adds a layer of closure to a saga fraught with ethical dilemmas, ensuring that the narrative honors the character's emotional turmoil while propelling the plot forward into uncharted territory. The night of deception at Il Giardino. The fateful evening at Il Giardino restaurant, that bustling hotspot for Los Angeles elite, spirals into chaos when Sheila Sharp impulsively shares insider gossip about Will Spencer's big promotion bash with her granddaughter Luna. A decision that sparked endless fan debates on whether it stemmed from misguided encouragement or sheer recklessness. At that juncture in the storyline, Sheila still mourned Luna's supposed operating room tragedy, pushing her to urge the young woman to chase her ambitions in the cutthroat fashion world, unaware it would unleash a torrent of betrayal. Luna, ever the opportunist, twists this intel into a sinister scheme, donning a mysterious wig possibly sourced from a shadowy contact in the city's underground scene to infiltrate the party and ensnare Will in her trap. The enigma deepens with Electra Forrester's abrupt departure from the festivities, despite her profound love for Will, who was already deep into his drinks. She slips away, perhaps sensing an undercurrent of danger or pulled by her own unresolved Forrester family obligations. This calculated ploy to exploit Will's vulnerable, alcohol-fueled state for a manipulative conception attempt cements Luna's legacy as a character devoid of ethics, a moral void echoed by her own parents in earlier episodes. Delving into the psychology here, Luna's actions reflect a desperate bid for power in a world that repeatedly sidelined her, turning a celebratory night into a harbinger of tragedy and exposing the fragile boundaries between ambition and villainy. Will Spencer's path to redemption. Will Spencer, the charismatic heir to the Spencer media empire, finds himself liberated from Luna's toxic grip, reclaiming the life he truly deserves alongside the woman who's captured his heart since day one. Their romance ignited in the iconic hallways of Forrester Creations, where a chance collision sent rings scattering across the marble floor, and Will's gallant gesture of handing one back to Electra sparked a spark that fans still swoon over, her wide-eyed surprise hinting at the deep connection to come. Cloaked in secrecy at Bill's fortified home, while evading authorities, Luna had spied on their tender moments, fueling her jealousy and sabotage. Now, with the heartbreaking miscarriage and Luna's demise erasing those dark chapters, Will emerges stronger, ready to rebuild without the weight of deception. Imagine the upcoming holidays' Thanksgiving feasts under golden Los Angeles skies, twinkling Christmas galas at the Forrester Mansion, and New Year's resolutions laced with promise as this duo shares playful banter, stolen kisses, and perhaps even a surprise engagement that cements their bond. This arc not only restores Will's agency, but also highlights themes of forgiveness and fresh starts, offering viewers a much-needed dose of romance amid the show's relentless twists. Ripples through the Nozawa and Sharp circles. The fallout from Luna's death hits hardest within her fractured family, as Lee Nozawa lays bare the truth to her adopted son, John Finn Finnegan, and her sister Sheila Sharp, confirming Luna as their shared daughter in a moment laden with unspoken regrets. Finn, the compassionate doctor entangled in endless medical crises, wrestles with a whirlwind of emotions, grief for the sibling he barely knew, relief at escaping her chaotic influence, and a lingering guilt over the murders he wasn't falsely accused of, unlike his mother Poppy Nozawa. Hardened by years of scandals and frame-ups that painted her as the villain, exhales a quiet sigh of liberation. Luna's threats to her stability and reputation were a constant storm, and this end feels like justice served in the soap's dramatic court. Sheila, ever the fierce matriarch with a soft spot for her kin, mourns deeply, her tears a mix of grandmotherly love and sorrow for the path Luna chose. Yet this loss inadvertently mends cracks in her marriage to Deacon Sharp by removing a major wedge. Deacon, the reformed bad boy turned restaurateur, now faces his own temptations, particularly his rekindling spark with Taylor Hayes, who shares Poppy's unapologetic gladness over Luna's exit due to the direct peril she posed to Steffi Forrester Finnegan and her young family. Taylor's relief underscores her protective instincts, potentially setting up a tense triangle that could either heal old wounds or ignite new fires. Analyzing these dynamics, the deaths weave a tapestry of inherited traumas, where each character's response, from Finn's measured empathy to Poppy's cold pragmatism, mirrors the show's exploration of nature versus nurture, paving the way for alliances and betrayals that promise to dominate future episodes. Broader implications for the canvas. As Luna's story closes, the bold and the beautiful universe pulses with potential, her absence creating vacuums that long-simmering rivalries rush to fill. From Forrester boardroom battles to Spencer family reconciliations, Bill Spencer, the Silver Fox patriarch, steps up as a pillar of support for his son Will, his own history of stormy romances informing a wiser, more guiding role that could influence the next generation's choices. Elektra, with her artistic flair and unyielding loyalty, might channel this turmoil into a bold new design line at Forrester, symbolizing resilience and beauty born from pain. Meanwhile, the Nozawa clan's fractures could lead to unexpected outreach, perhaps Finn bridging gaps with Lee through shared therapy sessions or Poppy seeking atonement in quiet acts of kindness. Sheila and Deacon's healing journey, free from Luna's shadow, invites deeper dives into their passion, but Taylor's involvement adds layers of intrigue, questioning if true love can overcome the ghosts of past loves like Ridge Forrester. Fans speculate on holiday specials amplifying these threads, with festive backdrops amplifying emotional highs and lows, ensuring the show's signature blend of glamour, gossip, and heartbreak endures. This evolution not only honors Luna's complex legacy, but elevates the ensemble, inviting viewers to ponder the cost of unchecked ambition in a world where secrets are currency and redemption is always one twist away. Next, we will learn about the explosive fallout from the Luna Nozawa tragedy that's shaking Forrester Creations to its core and thrusting Katie Logan into an unexpected career crossroads. Katie Logan strides into the gleaming offices of Forrester Creations with a steely determination, her mind already racing through strategies to contain the raging storm surrounding Luna Nozawa's untimely death. The scandal has exploded across social media platforms, with viral posts dissecting every detail of the prison escape, the fatal car crash, and the heartbreaking revelation that Luna was carrying Will Spencer's child at the time of her demise. As head of public relations, Katie has spent sleepless nights crafting press releases, coordinating with influencers to steer the narrative towards sympathy for the Forrester legacy, and even enlisting a team of crisis management experts to monitor global chatter. Yet, beneath her composed exterior, the personal toll weighs heavily. Her son Will is not just a bystander, but the emotional epicenter of this whirlwind, grappling with grief and guilt that could scar him for life. Katie envisions a boardroom session where she outlines a multi-phase recovery plan. First, a heartfelt statement from Eric Forrester emphasizing community support. Second, partnerships with mental health organizations to reframe the story around healing. And third, exclusive interviews with trusted outlets to humanize the family's ordeal. Little does she know, this routine crisis meeting is about to shatter her professional world in ways she never anticipated. forcing her to confront loyalties that run deeper than corporate hierarchies. Upon entering the opulent boardroom, adorned with sketches of iconic Forrester designs and framed awards from fashion weeks past, Katie is met by a tense assembly that includes Brooke Logan, her ever-poised sister, Ridge Forrester, the brooding designer whose sharp gaze hints at unspoken agendas, Eric Forrester, the venerable patriarch whose health battles have made every decision feel monumental, Carter Walton, the sharp-minded legal eagle often whispering strategies in Ridge's ear, and Donna Logan, whose warm presence usually softens family tensions, but today seems subdued. Katie launches into her briefing with precision, projecting charts on the screen that show a 300% spike in negative mentions online, urging immediate action like a unified social media blackout on speculation and the launch of a foundation in Luna's memory to shift public perception. But as she speaks, she catches a fleeting, loaded glance between Ridge and Carter, a subtle nod that speaks volumes, suggesting this demotion plot was hatched in shadowy pre-meeting huddles, perhaps over late-night coffees where alliances were realigned without her input. The air thickens with unspoken betrayals as Katie's passion for the company's image clashes with the undercurrents of favoritism that have long plagued the Logan's place in the Forrester empire. This moment underscores a deeper rift, Forrester's elite circle prioritizing bloodlines over merit, a dynamic that has simmered since the days of Brooke's endless romances and now boils over in Katie's hour of need, potentially eroding the fragile trust that binds these intertwined families. Brooke, ever the smooth operator with her signature cascade of blonde waves and a voice laced with practiced empathy, steps forward to reassure Katie, mentioning vague efforts to engage top spin doctors from New York firms and even floating the idea of a celebrity endorsement to dilute the scandal's sting. But then, in a pivot as sharp as a runway turn, Brooke reveals the gut-wrenching truth. Katie is being stripped of her role as head of PR, effective immediately, with an unnamed interim replacement stepping in to bring fresh perspectives. Stunned, Katie's voice rises in disbelief, demanding clarity. Who authorized this? Was it Ridge's protective instincts flaring up over Will's involvement, or Eric's waning patience with family dramas spilling into business? The room falls silent, save for the faint hum of the air conditioning. As Katie pieces together the implications, this isn't mere restructuring. It's a calculated sidelining that ignores her track record of navigating tempests like Steffi's corporate sabotage or Hope's public meltdowns. Adding layers to the intrigue, whispers around the water cooler suggest Brooke's hand in this, perhaps to consolidate her own influence amid Ridge's divided affections, turning sisterly bonds into pawns in a larger game of power. Katie's demotion feels like a public execution of her career, especially cruel given the scandal's intimate ties. Luna's obsession with Will stemmed from manipulated DNA tests and vengeful plots that Katie had quietly diffused behind the scenes, only to be repaid with exile. This betrayal amplifies the Logan's perennial struggle for equality in a Forrester-dominated world, where personal connections are weaponized rather than rewarded, leaving Katie to question if her years of loyalty were ever truly valued. On the surface, Forrester's rationale might seem pragmatic. Katie's direct link to Will, who was lured into Luna's web through forged documents and emotional blackmail, could cloud her objectivity, potentially leading to biased statements that fuel tabloid frenzy. Yet, this logic crumbles under scrutiny. Katie has been the unbreakable shield for the company through scandals that make Luna's pale in comparison. From Quinn's illicit affairs to Thomas's obsessive pursuits, always emerging with the brand's reputation intact and stock prices rebounding. Her personal stake, far from a liability, has fueled her fiercest defenses, like when she orchestrated a comeback tour for Ridge's line after a plagiarism uproar, turning critics into cheerleaders overnight. The infamous Ridge-Carter glance hints at ulterior motives, possibly a covert alliance to marginalize the Logans and install a yes-man loyal to the Forrester core, or even pressure from external investors wary of the family's soap opera-esque entanglements. Brooke's role as the messenger adds a Shakespearean twist of familial knifework, as sisters who clawed their way from modest beginnings to fashion royalty. Brooke's complicity, whether coerced or willing, signals a fracture that could ripple into full-blown civil war among the Logans. Deeper analysis reveals this as a symptom of Forrester's toxic meritocracy, where competence bows to nepotism, punishing Katie for her very effectiveness in crises that expose the company's vulnerabilities. In this high-stakes arena, her ousting isn't just professional, it's a personal indictment. Stripping away the armor she's built over decades and exposing the raw underbelly of ambition in Los Angeles' glittering elite. Fuming with a mix of righteous anger and raw hurt, Katie abandons the boardroom without a backward glance, her heels echoing like thunderclaps down the marble corridors as she hails a cab straight to Spencer Publications' towering headquarters, a sleek monolith symbolizing Bill Spencer's unyielding empire. Bursting into Bill's expansive office, overlooking the city skyline dotted with blinking billboards, Katie unleashes the full saga: the blindside demotion, the icy stares, the sting of Brooke's detached delivery, her words tumbling out amid gestures that betray her usual poise. Bill, lounging in his leather chair with that trademark smirk and a glass of scotch at hand, absorbs it all with a mix of feigned shock and genuine outrage, recounting his own history of clashes with the Forresters to validate her pain. He paints a vivid picture of Spencer as the antidote, a dynamic media powerhouse where Katie could helm a revamped PR division, leveraging her expertise to launch investigative series on fashion industry corruption or amplify voices like Will's in youth advocacy. Will's inclusion sweetens the deal, envisioning him interning in digital strategy, learning from Bill's cutthroat playbook while healing from Luna's shadow under his mother's watchful eye. Bill's offer isn't just employment, it's a siren call to reclaim agency, promising equity stakes and creative freedom that Forrester's rigid structure never allowed, all while subtly needling his rivals by poaching their star talent. Bill's overture blends heartfelt support with shrewd opportunism, a hallmark of his larger-than-life persona that's weathered divorces, yacht sinkings, and corporate wars without losing its magnetic pull. He argues that Forrester has long undervalued Katie, citing instances like her overlooked contributions to the Spectrum merger or her solo handling of Hope for the Future's relaunch amid boycotts, positioning Spencer as the stage where she can finally shine unencumbered. Yet, beneath the charm lies strategy. By drawing Katie and Will into his fold, Bill fortifies his media arsenal against Forrester's influence, potentially sparking a bidding war for exclusives or even collaborative exposes that expose fashion house hypocrisies. Katie, ever the pragmatist, weighs the emotional cost, leaving means burning bridges with Donna and Eric, who might intervene with apologies laced with half measures, but the allure of validation is intoxicating. In this pivotal juncture, Bill emerges not as a savior, but a catalyst, reminding Katie of her worth in a world quick to discard its warriors, and setting the stage for a potential realignment that could redefine alliances across Los Angeles' power corridors. The looming dilemma for Katie: stay and fight in the den of ingratitude, or leap to Spencer's embrace, encapsulates her lifelong battle as the resilient Logan underdog, forever eclipsed by Brooke's spotlight yet rising through sheer grit. Remaining at Forrester would demand swallowing pride, perhaps negotiating a lateral move to creative consulting where she could still influence from the shadows. But the demotion's fresh wound suggests reconciliation feels like capitulation. Walking away, however, unlocks reinvention. At Spencer, she could pioneer bold campaigns like global sustainability drives tying into Bill's eco-warrior phases, while mentoring Will through his turmoil with therapy tie-ins and mentorship programs. This choice echoes Katie's history of bold pivots, from her early days as a tabloid editor to navigating co-parenting with Bill amid their stormy marriage, proving she's no stranger to fresh chapters. Ultimately, embracing Bill's world offers autonomy and respect, a chance to build alongside her son in an environment that celebrates her savvy rather than sidelines it, potentially igniting a new era where Logans thrive beyond Forrester's gilded cage. As the scandal's embers continue to smolder, Katie's decision will not only chart her path, but reverberate through the intricate web of love, loyalty, and rivalry that defines the bold and the beautiful.